La 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 la. Okay. I think I got my love. Is that right? La 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 la. All right. Now that my throat is clear, guys, I got an amazing episode coming at you from live from Childaburg. It's going to be a crossover episode with the fellers from Timeline Earth and also Guy Swan. But before you listen to that episode, now that I've got your attention, it's an opportunity to tell you about Black Captain, because any of you that have not gone already and purchased Black Captain, I mean, you know that I've got a car door to pay for. So please go to theblackcaptain.com. I promise you, it is an incredible work of artistry, an incredible work of sounds, there's no sights. I almost said sights and scenes, and that wouldn't make sense because it's a podcast, and I don't want to waste your time with this plug. I want to get right into an excellent episode that I have with the Timeline Earth guys, but I can't get into that episode until you go to blackcaptain.com. You spend your money, it's $20, you get 3 hours of content. It's pretty incredible. So go to theblackcaptain.com. Check out theblackcaptain.com, and now let's get into our live, which I'm going to do more live episodes because that was a ton of fun, and I just had to get into a tent so that I could do my skills before I start the podcast. Normally I don't put that on air, but, I figured if I'm going to be plugging Black Captain, I really got to get my levels correct. You can't just scream like this out of nowhere. You just try and sit in a car and scream in this fashion without warming up your vocal cords, you're going to end up with an issue. So, tips of the trade. I know a lot of you guys are trying to get into podcasting. You're not sure how to do it. People email me all the time. They're like, Rob, what you do is incredible, and I'd like to be more like you. And I give them tips. I tell them, first thing you got to do, you got to shave your head bald. You got to get rid of that hair. If you're looking at nice hair in the mirror, you're not going to feel uncomfortable with yourself enough to yell in the way that I do. So that's the first thing you got to do. You definitely need to be on like a carbs roller coaster where you just ate a sandwich and now your mood's dipping, so you're thinking about dessert. That's the perfect energy to be in. I said I wasn't going to waste time. I'm doing that thing again where I go on the tangents because I have ADD. So let's get right into this episode and just go purchase theblackcaptain.com, and that way I won't even need to do introductions before I got whole good episodes that you can listen to. So here it is. I'm not talking anymore. Right into the live episode.
I got the Pfizer one first. I didn't like the flavor.
Right, so
I got the Moderna.
Okay.
I'm gonna get the J&J.
Have you gotten 2 of each of those, or like you started with Moderna, you started with Pfizer, you're like, not for me.
Yeah.
I'll do a Moderna.
Yeah.
Now, if you go back and you get a Moderna after a Pfizer, according to like their thing of needing a second dose, does that do anything for you?
Cancels out maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt very logical in the process of it.
Because I do feel like if you are getting the vaccines, you might as well get all the vaccines.
Well
Yeah,
sweet.
yeah, and
like,
3 masks.
Because
right?
if
Same
each
principle.
Bring the runners home. Clear the bases.
Fucking fill up on the vaccines.
Yeah,
love it.
they're the best of the best. So yeah, I've been thinking after the Pfizer one, I was like, Jeff, I think there was a bad rap behind Jeff.
Absolutely.
After I got well, I call him Jeff.
Yeah,
me and good friends. And I think after I got the Moderna, I was straight up like, I think he was framed. Yeah.
Who do you think framed him? Wexner and the Mossad. They recruited him early, and they were putting him on these missions.
Some very rude people, some bad people probably framed him, I think. Yeah. Yeah. What I think what we were saying before was he
Do you think he at least got to fuck some kids along the way? Because if you get pulled into that whole racket and you get framed for this operation, at least if you got to do some kid fucking, maybe it's worth it. But do you think like it was a total frame job? And
I think it was 100% a frame job.
He never fucked any kids.
Not one.
Whatsoever.
No, I think Jeff was the first one to get the vaccine, and he died. And so what they did was they fucking went into the jail cell afterwards. They tied a rope around his neck and squeezed for a little while.
They had to clean it up because they want to wipe the world clean of vaccine deaths. And because he's in with guys like Bill Gates and he's in with Big Pharma.
Correct.
He got early access to the vaccines because they knew Corona was coming, and they're like, we want to be protected.
We got you, Jeff. Here's the juice.
Epstein dies from taking that very vaccine, and now they got to cover that shit up.
So they're choking him out.
So they choke him out.
A bungled suicide.
Yeah.
You know what's wild about, so they just got that, like, the dudes to sign off that they weren't doing their job during when Epstein hung himself, but they're not getting prosecuted. What the fuck?
Wait, they're not getting prosecuted?
No, they're not, because they admitted to the fact that they weren't, like, doing their job well.
Wow.
And that they were
Is that
playing,
how that works?
That they were
we
playing
fucked
video
up,
games.
So you can't punish us.
That's a thing we got to keep in mind for the podcast.
Yeah.
Admit that we're not good podcast.
Yeah, we start blasting slurs out.
Yeah,
Guys, we knew we were doing it.
Yeah,
We said we were going to do that. We can't be in trouble for that.
I
Our
want to
honesty
tell you.
should save us there. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Dig us out of a hole.
Yeah, I think we're in some dark times.
We are.
Yeah.
We are indeed.
News media and so on and so forth.
I still think if there's one thing in that storyline that I'd like to see them finally cop to, it's where is the safe? They went into his house, and the FBI took that safe.
Yeah.
Obviously, because it's filled with all the juicy stuff they don't want any of us to know about. But if there's one thing that the public should just be demanding, it's like, show us the fucking safe.
I think
What's
they
in
did
the
a
safe?
burial at sea like Osama bin Laden. It's just down at the bottom.
With Epstein? With Jeff?
No, the safe.
The safe?
Yeah.
They
just
chucked
buried
it out
at sea.
there?
Yeah.
Man, I can't imagine what would be in a guy like that safe.
Probably pictures of all,
photographs.
of all the kids he fucked.
Yeah, a lot of or was framed.
So it's empty.
Was
it's just an
it's
empty
empty
safe.
because the guy didn't fuck it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be an empty safe. Didn't fuck one kid. Yeah, not one. As far as we understand it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a bold claim, so I just want to recap because let's introduce what we're doing here. We're actually out at Childaburg. We're doing
Yes,
it.
we
We
are.
made it out here.
Chili 3.
I'm recording live with Carr and the Birdman himself. I think both you and I in person disappoint people for being less chubby than they expected.
Yeah, they want us to be fat because
Yeah.
they want us to be lesser than them. Yeah.
Is that what it is?
It's 100% what it is. They look at us like if we're fatter, they go, well, you know what? They might be bigger, they might have more of a name, but they're fatter. That's what they do. That's what they try and tell themselves. But really, we're thin, we're beautiful, we're very we're wanted, we're loved.
So we disappoint them because when they listen to us, they're like, this guy's entertaining and I'm better than him.
Yeah.
And then when they show up and they're like, oh, he's not even that fat,
Yeah.
it almost ruins the illusion of it's like the hot chick at the party you think you can bang, so
Yeah.
now she's more attractive. That's what we are to people, where they think we're fat, chubby assholes.
Yep, and we actually come out and we're some of the most beautiful people anybody's ever seen.
And then they're just like, you know what, I'm not. But do they still listen to us, or do we end up losing
I
audience?
think they only listen to us because they think we're fat and ugly, yeah.
But then once they're hooked,
Yeah.
they don't actually
Then
leave.
then they fuck off because they can, yeah.
Oh,
I
so
mean,
you
these
think-
guys are
so
this
we're-
beautiful and funny, there's no way.
So you think we're losing people by
I
showing
do.
up
By
and doing
being
live
us,
events?
yeah, I think by being us, we're
I don't
actually
know if we're
putting
that
people off.
handsome, but I do
Well,
like your take.
This is only audio, right?
Yeah.
So we're really handsome.
Okay,
We're
fine.
extremely handsome.
There you go. We're selling it.
Right.
You're pitching your dick out here at
Childaburg.
Childaburg.
Yeah.
Where are all? Are you guys pulling any groupie puss at this event yet? Has
No,
that
not
happened?
yet. It hasn't swung by. I
'Cause
expect any minute now, though.
I walked
Especially
around,
after we set up the podcasting booth. That'll
Yeah.
surely,
This is big
surely bring him
business.
around.
Yeah.
because I walked around last night offering to sleep with women in the backseat of your car.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we were going to blow the back shocks out.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
thought people would be like, "Wait, this is my opportunity
Right.
to have sex with Robbie the Fire
Yeah,
in
in
Carr's
Carr's
car."
car. Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought someone would want in on that story, but
Frankly, I was planning on sleeping in the grass. I felt
Yeah.
100% sure that I was going to come back, stumble back to my car, and sure enough, there's Robbie rocking the car.
yeah, well, walking around and just screaming, "Where are the mushrooms?" got me mushrooms.
Yeah,
so.
well,
Yeah, can we
I
talk
did
about that
notice.
last night? Do you
Success
remember much
story.
of last night?
Success story of Childaburg 3, Robbie shouting about mushrooms, and then actually getting mushrooms. That was amazing.
So some guy tells you to go to the first tent to get mushrooms. There was no first
There was
tent.
no
Can you
first
explain
tent.
that to me? Because
Yeah.
I was so high I barely
Okay.
understood.
It was so when I was hanging out and we did the show last night, which was an absolute blast.
Yeah, excellent.
Someone came up to, like, everyone was coming up to me and they're like trying to hand me, which is great. I get everyone wants to hang out with. I got the show to do, and then I know I'm going to be drinking at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So I've learned how to pace myself
Yeah.
while doing this, and then I'm like, dude, I'm going to be out here later. We can hang out. This is when I learned this one, by the way. When I did Pork Fest the first time, there was some guy came up to me. And, like, before even we did the first podcast in the afternoon, he was like, you got to meet my wife. You got to have these. I'm like, dude, I'm going to be drinking later. He goes, no, you got to drink with me. I was like, dude, I'm going to do a stand-up show at 8, and then I'm partying. You can party with me.
Yeah.
I was, like, then looking for the guy after the stand-up show because I was like, dude, where's party guy? I told him I would party with him. I want to make good on my promise. He was passed out on the other side of the stage in his own vomit, and I'm like,
Wow.
that's why you wait. That's why you fucking pace yourself,
Yeah.
you know?
And you were working with a tough crowd too because we were all drinking since 2 p.m.
Yeah, that was I had a
Half
lot.
the crowd couldn't even. I think when they were out of it, they were like out of it.
I had fun. I got my laughs.
Yeah,
I think
I was
everyone
dying.
that came out to see
Oh, dude,
me
you killed, man.
was like,
Yeah.
I'm happy to
Yeah.
see him. But that was work.
We
Like
were deep in it.
there were there's some shows you show up and it's a good crowd, like, and you know what I mean. It's hot.
Yeah,
You guys were work, but you had been drinking in the sun since 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Which
Doing a lot more than just drinking too.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
I'd like to address that. I love whiskey. I'm a whiskey guy.
Yeah.
But whiskey to me is kind of a cold weather winter beverage. I'm not like, when it's hot out, I don't want like.
Yeah, switch over to your gins, your
Yes.
vodkas,
Yeah.
and fizz it up.
Yep.
Yep.
You were pounding claws.
Yeah.
You want to like
explain myself?
Yeah, no,
I just
perfect,
drank a lot of White
excellent.
Wait, why do you think?
It's a contentious topic, the White Claw.
Yeah.
Okay.
People seem to think they have opinions on it.
Yeah.
It's one I would defer to, like, White Claws are better when there isn't a bitch in your ear telling you they're not.
Right. Yeah. I
Yeah.
like the controversy. I like the pushback that I get.
It
taste
makes you feel
better. It
powerful,
makes me
right?
feel
Because
powerful.
when you have one
And-
in your hand, you're drinking it, and you're
Right.
going, you're looking at me.
Also, yesterday, if you remember, your responsibility was to anchor the vibe, and I was kind of the chaos
Yeah.
agent, right?
Right.
And so that was kind of how we were working it. And then today, I'm anchoring the vibe. You're the chaos agent.
Yeah,
So,
the way we switched off yesterday was very interesting. So yesterday, I wasn't even going to come out. I've been going at this for 7 days. I've been having a hell of a vacation. I was fucking exhausted. So I took a siesta, and I decided to go down there. I was calling myself the anchor because I was anchoring the vibe at the Childaburg camp, but eventually the anchor gave way, and I went to you guys, and then you became the anchor.
All right.
You were anchoring the vibe. And then Carr, today, after waking up at 10 a.m., which is pretty late for you,
Oh,
pretty
very
late
late
for
for
you,
me. Yeah. Yeah.
You're anchoring the vibe today.
now I'm anchoring.
Yeah.
So the weight shifted around, full circle. Tomorrow, you'll anchor.
I'll be anchoring. Yeah, I'm going to be anchoring again. It's good stuff.
What are the obligations as anchor?
Keep it real cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold it down. If the vibe shifts even a little bit, you got to shift it right back. That's a Childaburg
It's duty.
motto.
So right before
Yeah.
when you went on to do your stand-up, I saw you were in work mode. You were thinking, you were pacing, you were working through it. That's kind of the responsibility of anchoring the vibe as well. You're on the job. Yesterday was stressful.
It
Was
was
it not?
extremely stressful,
I-
although you handled it like a champ. I mean, that
Thank
was
you.
incredible.
You know what? At first, when you were throwing, I didn't know it. Now what you're describing is when you're the host of the party,
Yeah.
and you don't just get to sit back. You're actually kind of running
Right.
around trying to make sure everyone's
Yeah.
having a good time.
Yeah. Anchor.
And so you feel, you know what? Anchoring the vibe's the best way I've ever heard that put.
Yeah.
And the fact
Anchoring the
that I guess we're smart enough to realize I have an obligation here, because I do feel that way. If you go out, like
Yeah.
this part, me being an introvert, part of why I like sitting quiet in my room is that I have the energy when I'm out to be pleasant.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
yeah.
It's a fucking mental choice that if I'm going to show up and be around people, I have to be on and pleasant.
Right.
And like some people, they almost feel like that's being fake or phony or whatever. It's like
No,
that's
it's just you got to do it.
That's
yeah.
part of being
You feel that urge, right? To
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm at the party. I'm not just going to partake in the party. I'm also going to help organize the party and help keep the party going.
anchor the vibe.
We got this anchor
Right.
here where we are right now recording, which before that, yesterday last night we were up till 4:30 in the morning, and a whole lot of things were said.
The anchor.
There
gave
was
way.
no anchor.
The anchor
Oh,
gave way. We didn't
did
have
you-
an anchor. and
Yeah,
it just,
before
Did
we
you guys
continued
clear the
it,
air?
hold on, but before that, Scott Horton's got his own anchor over
Right.
there, and then there's a big bonfire over at the other. There's 3 anchors at the party.
Right.
At Childaburg, 3 anchors. So now last night, man, we stayed up until 2:30 or 3,
Yeah.
right?
I like how you guys installed a noise machine for the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And talk about anchoring the vibe
Yeah.
for the listeners. You're
Yeah.
like, we want you to experience all of the.
It's windy as shit.
Yeah,
it's
no,
windy
all,
as shit.
you guys
here.
don't have to hold it. It's fine. My fans are used to shitty audio quality, so
We're doing our
they'll
best.
just deal with it. It's also that there's so much open air, and we decided, hey, let's go underneath the wind machine.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was kind of a poor choice in
Yeah, it
retrospect.
Yeah, it's all good.
God, what did we get to last night? I learned this. Get this. I think I have it written down on my phone. It's pretty profound. We were talking with shout out to Wendell.
Yeah.
What a
last
name.
night. Yeah, great,
Just showing up with a name like Wendell, that takes
Excellent.
balls.
A lot of
dude,
power.
excellent.
A lot of power.
He was peak form. Like he was a man in his peak form. He was
He represented the Wendell name well.
insane, dude. So we're talking with him, and something that I had learned. We were talking about rolling coal.
Oh, you know what? Let's
Yeah.
make a change here. No. Let me. I'm sorry. I interrupted you for no reason.
It's fine.
All right, go for it.
So we were talking about rolling coal. Are you familiar with what rolling coal is?
No.
So I'm going to do a very poor explanation here, but
Okay.
from one New Yorker to another, we don't do this there. But
Right.
how it works is, as a car is driving by you, they will mix urea. What do they call it?
Yeah, something.
Urea or something like that. It's like piss
Okay.
with their diesel fuel engine,
Okay.
and it spits out this black soot.
Okay.
And it goes all over your car, and it blinds you, and you got to
Wait.
pull over.
So I can just like pee into the gas tank?
From what
We're gonna
this
get-
is
we're
from
gonna
what
get
I
there.
gathered. Right, we're gonna get to what I learned,
Okay.
which is Wendell, who is a truck driver, was telling us. Well, let me tell you a little bit more about that. You shouldn't do that because, and let me just make sure again that I have the quote that he wrote up. Yeah, you cannot piss in diesel because it creates a crystalline structure. And
Which-
he's looking at me with like fire in his eyes, and he's telling me you cannot piss in diesel; it will create a crystalline structure.
And when someone says you cannot,
You got to do it.
Obviously,
I have to do it.
Yeah.
So when he said that, I couldn't breathe for about 5 minutes.
I saw you knocked you into like a trance.
Yeah, it was an absolutely insane statement I never heard before, but it's true. So I learned all about that, rolling coal and pissing into your diesel engine.
But what sounds the most fun about pissing into your diesel engine is actually opening the tank, put your dick into it, peeing into it, and then going, I'm going to go get this guy. It's the ritual of it almost sounds more like the funnest. I really just like the idea of putting my dick into my truck, like you're going to fuck it kind of thing.
And you might do a little one.
You might. You're already in there and it's lubed
America.
up.
Who's going to tell you not to do that?
Dude, wouldn't it be great if they just put fleshlights where you're getting, like, every once in a while?
Everywhere. They just put them everywhere.
One for the road.
Anywhere that you're going to do something for more than 30 or 45 seconds,
you're
like making coffee, there's like a fleshlight.
A cop, you're on the highway.
You're
on the highway, you're suspiciously standing next to your car. A cop comes by, he pulls over, he goes, what you doing over there? You taking a piss? You can't do that. He goes like, no, officer, I'm just fucking my car. Just fucking the car.
Have you ever jerked off while driving to stay up?
No, is that to stay up? Have a cigarette.
Well, you could do that too. All right, next topic.
Hold on, jerking off puts you to sleep.
Well, once you finish,
See,
that's the problem. It keeps you up for a while.
That's the self-defeating problem with this here is you're falling asleep behind the road, and you're like, let me just blast it. Yeah,
30 seconds.
It keeps you up for a while.
Just blast another one off, and then you're fucking more exhausted. So you're like, all right, get hard again, blast another one off. How many miles are you driving, and how many nuts are you bursting every 10 miles?
I'm sorry I introduced the topic.
Right,
I thought you were going to get my back. All right. Let's get back to what you were saying, that you guys were anchoring the vibe all day. You're like, I'm responsible for this thing. I want to make sure people are having a good time. Yep. But then you said late at night, you got hammered, and it took a turn for the worse. Was there some air, like some clearing of the air? Was there aggressive things said?
It was a wonderful time. It was just, it was drug-addled. It was intense. I had at one point, as we were talking, I had people just handing me vape pens. I would go from one, and he would be like, now take a hit of this one. I was going to go from one. Somebody had a pre-roll. It fucking knocked me on my ass.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And
Dude,
that was after 14 hours of smoking.
Right.
The pre-roll knocked me on my ass. Again, you know if you're smoking for a whole day, I'm sure you've done a binge smoke where you smoke from when you wake up to when you go to bed.
It's called college.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Every day, baby. You run out. By the end of the day, you smoked as much as you did in the morning, and it's like nothing.
Right.
This pre-roll,
it got you.
I was in the sky.
That's the best when you've actually been smoking all day and, like, you want to still get, like, high, but, like, you're just kind of – and then you hit something that's, like, a higher quality bud, and it actually gets you up again, and you're like, hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
Dude, I loved early in the night someone handed me a joint, which is great. Same thing because I'm pacing myself, and then when you remember at, like, 1 in the morning, oh, yeah, that fan handed me a joint earlier, and you can bust it out, and then –
Now, are you at the level where you'll still do drugs your fans give you?
I mean, I smoked that joint,
nice.
So yeah, I guess I'm not that concerned about anyone trying to drug me.
Because because it's I don't know, maybe I'm too paranoid, but at some point you're gonna get so popular that there's gonna be someone who's like omits the fact that there's PCP in it or something like that. You go crazy, man.
I'll say,
I'll say two. One is, I maybe I don't want to say this on air. I kind of like the idea of being drugged because there's certain drugs I would never take.
Oh, right.
Because I wouldn't do it.
You'd be worried about
it
before.
But if you drugged me with it, I would kind of be like, oh, I got to have that experience. Like, I would never take PCP.
No, but if
you drugged me with PCP, but now here's the thing: I'd only want that once, and please don't do it to me.
No, really.
Like,
I'm not even gonna keep the joke going because someone will.
Yeah, but someone I get like I don't
like
even
I really want to bite on this joke really hard.
Like that's why I almost didn't want to float it.
Yeah.
But there's a part of me that's like like I would never I've never really done acid. I've done mushrooms plenty of times.
Yeah.
Like if you put one in my drink and then I was like, no, please don't do that to me. I'm just not into it.
Really
I'm retracting it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's not good.
We need to re-anchor. Bert,
you can't drug somebody with something that lasts longer than 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's true too.
If it's under 30 minutes,
if it's like DMT or salvia and you just go in deep for 3 minutes and then you're back and you're like, how was it? That's okay. That's one thing.
Right.
But if someone,
here goes a 26-hour trip now. Yeah, have fun.
I'm almost too trusting my fans because people were saying that when I was doing Summer Porch Tour that you're going to show up somewhere and get killed. But thus far,
just know you're just doing it right.
Yeah. Thus far, I've met nothing but cool and nice people, and I find.
Please don't kill me.
Whatever vibes we're putting out, it's attracting the right people.
The vibe.
We're anchoring the vibe of the fucking universe. I'm saying the people that are showing up, I don't feel are gonna drug or kill me.
Yeah.
But let's get back to the tent
Jeffrey
number
Epstein?
one. No. So this dude, he's like, he's like, we're gonna party, and I was like, cool. He's like, we're gonna do. I was like, you know what, that'd be perfect. This is also like a hilarious drug when you start figuring out like what drugs you can take so that you don't drink too much.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh wow, I never would have thought of that.
Yeah,
so you're taking drugs so it can stave off that alcoholism.
Yeah, so you're like, oh, this is perfect. I know that I don't want to get too hammered, so if I just have like a little bit of mushrooms, I won't really drink, and then I can fucking party out at Childaburg without like being fine the next day, good to go, without setting myself back too much. It's drug math. You start figuring these things out after enough road work. So but he told me, he's like, I'm in tent number 1. I'll be easy to find. And now I show up. It's like when you show up and you think you got like Chinese food in the fridge. You know what I mean? Like your whole day, you think you're coming back to like a specific meal in your fridge.
It's the anchor.
What, the anchor of your life is knowing that food is in the fridge.
Yeah.
And when you come back and you're like, you're not mad. Like if your girlfriend just told you, and in this reality, I have a girlfriend. If someone just told you, hey, I ate that thing that was in the fridge, you would have picked something else up. It wouldn't have bothered you. But when you show up and you were expecting it to be there, and it's not. Yeah. So I was fucking expecting, I'm going to show up, tent number 1.
Mushrooms, please.
Exactly. Take my mushrooms.
Here you go.
And then I'm just going to walk down the Childaburg line, swing some beers with everybody, live podcast. And then I discovered that there was no tent number 1.
No.
There's no tent structure here.
There's no tent structure.
There's no number 1.
Somebody said number 1. I was like, there's no first. There's several ways to get in. There's no first tent.
There's no way to get in.
There's no way.
I was like, did I invent that person? Did he even exist?
When did that guy talk to you? Post-show? Pre-show?
No, pre-show. But I found him. I took a cap, and it was a great evening.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
It was good.
And then I did. Maybe we could do this next year. We could promote it, the mushroom scavenger hunt, where I was doing like Childaburg, like it was GTA, where I was like, I was just going on simple missions, like we got to find Scott Horton.
Okay.
And then we found Scott Horton, but it was fine. It was more the adventure of tracking him down. And then I was like, I got to go find the guys and see if we're gonna podcast. But it was just fun, like darting around. I stopped. One of my friends, his name is Francisco Alderando. He never told this joke on stage, but it was one of the funniest things a comic said to me in passing, where he's like, I'm 45 years old and I can't play video games anymore because you start realizing, like, I can't just be in a digital universe running errands.
Yes.
And you realize every single video game, that's it. You're just running errands. Like 100%. GTA, go there and get the bullets. Go here, bring your car for repair. It's like, I got to do that in life. Like, I don't need to be driving around some digital landscape.
Another chore. I got to get on the video game and do some more chores.
When somebody says that, it ruins video game, because you realize every single game, it's just some instruction to go somewhere and get something.
Yeah, you're not completing anything, really. It's all just kind of satisfying what's going on in there. Just watch a movie at that point.
So this is easily the biggest Childaburg you guys have done yet.
For sure.
First one, shout out to Jacob.
Yeah, 100%
shout out to Jacob.
He's a doer. Like, he actually gets shit done.
Man. No, he is, man.
He
when
really
he says he's going to do something, he does it. And
and he says he's going to do Childaburg Town one day, and everybody better take him very seriously.
Yeah.
I like his idea for it.
Yeah.
I just went in early on the crypto, so if it turns into some kind of a scam, I can cash out.
We cash out very quick. Yeah.
And by the way, I'm all for cashing in on the fan base. I'm all for robbing them blind. It just needs to be it just needs to be a large enough base that we can do it once and be set for life.
Right.
And then I'll take a hard turn for socialism as long as I can cash in.
Well, that's the move every time. That's the move every time.
Is if you can take the and by the way, as fans of capitalism, this crowd would have to respect that.
They would.
1,000%.
We provided
we
value.
Anchored the vibe.
Because
we anchored that vibe.
We anchored it in capitalism, then moving swiftly to socialism.
Yeah.
Can I bring something up that
Please.
I can't get out of my mind? I know you're an experienced pot smoker.
Okay.
And I knew because yesterday you pulled a move I've never seen before in my whole life.
Oh my God!
Do you
I
recall?
forgot about that.
Dude, it was artistry what you did. So you said you referred to yourself as a germaphobe.
Yes.
You still say that?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So you did this move I've never seen before, where you cup your fingers together and you just make a ball out of your hand. Everybody listening, try to do it. You just make a ball out of your hands by interlacing your fingers.
It's a one-handed move.
Yeah, that was what blew me
That
away.
was a
one-handed move.
So can you explain the move?
I think he was
Absolutely.
blocking the wind with the other hand, but the action was happening with one hand.
Oh, yeah. I might have cupped it with the second hand.
I
here's
think-
the move.
yeah, go ahead.
And by the way, if you ever see me like at a live thing and you want me to teach you this, I would gladly pass this on.
Yeah, I need to know.
So between your pinky and what finger is this?
The one next to the pinky.
The one next
There's
to the
only
pinky.
one next to the pinky,
All
so
right.
that one.
So
yeah.
you put the tip of the joint in there, and you squeeze it, right?
Yeah.
And then you close your hand so that the joint is on the bottom, right? And then you pull through the top.
The thumb hole or whatever.
You pull through your thumb hole and, top of the twist when you jerk off finger. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah,
you got
the ring. the ring.
Yeah, you got your finger for flicking people off. Yeah. And then you got the finger that you're really using when you're twisting so that you can come. Then you got the pinky finger, and then you got whatever the...
And two of your buddies are jerking you off while you're doing
this
exactly.
Thing, and then you got the finger in between the middle finger and the... Can you imagine a doctor actually using this chart? Like, you broke your finger.
How to smoke weed if you're a germaphobe. You got to jerk a guy off.
He's got it up in the little waiting room.
Yeah.
Know your fingers.
Well, it looks like you broke your jerk-off finger.
We see this a lot.
It was just artistry because you created a bowl with your hand.
And I'll tell you, this is a hot take, but for some reason that the draw on that is a little bit harsher, but I think gets you a little more stoned.
Wow.
It's like it's a different draw. Yeah.
I would think that it would be much smoother draw because it's got all that air in your hand to...
No, it's a little bit like if you've ever done like the joint into a can move.
Yeah, it's instantly in your mouth. It doesn't really cool down at all.
Yeah, there's something about that that's harsher, so this is this is similar to that, but...
It was a real, move.
Yeah.
It was a real, and you did it, and I don't know if you were doing it to flex.
No,
you were trying to play it off.
That was not a flex.
That was not. Well, it certainly felt like a flex.
Well, I'm glad that
I can't
that you
show you a single
it.
thing about marijuana that you don't already know. That's the thing, and you just showed me something fascinating.
You're a sweetheart.
Yeah, I'm gonna use it every time.
So, in hanging out in Texas, I would say one of the few things that have disappointed me thus far is I haven't met that many people with a thick Texas accent. I've met a couple.
Yeah, I didn't either.
And also, if I you got a real thick Texas accent. If I hung out here for a week around people that talk like him, I would be talking that way.
Dude, it's the most magnetic accent.
It fucking
of all
rubs
time.
off, dude.
Yeah, yeah. I'm saying y'all. I'm not saying y'all. I'm wearing a cowboy hat right now for all the listeners.
Yeah,
There's a cowboy hat on my head right
someone
now.
drinking some beers, getting us some sandwiches,
or
what?
It's excellent. It's an excellent accent.
And it just roll. Did you just cut first word out of your mouth as a baby? Ma.
It's great.
Yeah. Ma, I'm looking for some more tit milk. Bring them big old titties out here. I'm getting hungry, Ma.
Yeah, it's one of the best. It's so good.
The other thing I got to figure out, I somehow packed too much clothing and went through all of it. I don't know why I'm going through as much clothing.
How often are you changing? What's your routine?
I don't know,
Sweating a lot?
Yeah, I guess so.
You don't like to be sweated.
No, that's the clean thing.
I love to be sweated.
That's disgusting, dude.
It's great. Smell me. I dare you.
Oh no, I have no interest in
Back
taking
up
a whiff
or
of.
Accept the scent. That's an anchor.
You should get that shirt. That is a great
Back
shirt.
Back up
quote.
or accept the scent. Put that down.
That is.
We have a T-shirt in the works right now, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember what it is.
It's something like "Give your baby crack," or if you don't want to, don't.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I think it's specifically give your baby crack, or you're free not to.
Or you're free not to.
Okay.
And then we're going to brand it for the
Libertarian Party.
Right. It's fun because you're like, am I reading something profound here? Am I missing something? Is there some sort of an insight?
That's libertarianism right there. Give your baby crack,
baby cocaine, or
you're free not to.
Also,
you have to put a big space when you're doing the actual font.
Right.
It has to be far down.
Yeah.
Right.
So that you, in your mind, as you're reading it, there's an uncomfortable pause. Give your baby crack, or you're free not to.
The other thing is, we still don't know if giving your baby crack doesn't give it superpowers. I don't know how many people have really experimented with that in a scientific way.
That's a tough rider.
You can blame the schedule for that.
The what?
You can blame the drug schedule for that.
Oh, you mean that we can't? Yeah, we should be drugging babies with all sorts of shit
crack,
to see what makes them X-Men.
We're free not to.
Or,
as well.
Or we're free not to.
We're free not to.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's a vibe anchoring move right there. Free not to. You can put anything before you're free not to, and when you say you're free not to, you cannot get angry about it. Because I gave you permission to not do it as well.
Right. So I was telling you,
anchor move.
You're more than welcome not to do it. I saw some pictures of me on stage, and I couldn't believe how creased my shirt was. I got to figure out how to not have creased shirts.
Creased your shirt?
Not happening.
Yeah, it was pretty creased. Maybe I was just self-conscious about it.
Well, you probably hadn't had time to air out on your body because you just changed into it.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Yeah.
I've noticed we got a fair amount of truckers listening to us.
Oh, yeah.
Just from hanging out last night.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanna start this honk for freedom every single episode. I'm gonna request that if you're a truck driver right now, you're listening to this, honk that fucking horn.
Honk.
And I want to get one car accident in the name of freedom, and then I will
Or
retire
you're
from
free not to.
podcasting. No, I want every single time. I'm going to do it in every episode, just to call out for a good honk on the road in the name of freedom, and then report back if you caused a car accident.
You want him to
And
do
then
like a brief one or a long
No,
one?
I want like an obnoxious like.
I say you
Yeah.
honk until the accident happens.
Oh,
No, that's
wow.
too much. No,
Is
it's
it too much? All
gotta
right,
it's
I'll
gotta
back
be
off.
one, and then
Don't
hopefully,
back off yet.
hopefully,
Yeah, back
the
in.
audience grows to the point where there's enough people listening to this that one truck driver does it. There's an old person in front of them.
Oh, yeah.
Causes an accident, and then I caused a crash in the name of freedom.
bitch, and,
Yeah.
and then
And
you
then
go away.
I can move on.
I like that plan.
All right, so you guys have you've rebranded. You're now Timeline Earth.
We are.
And so I'm curious to know. I feel like most of the people I meet that are kind of a part of the podcasting liberty space, I feel like in our own little autistic ways, we all have like one thing that we're a little bit more focused on or something. It's almost like your superpower thing that you're interested in. So I'm curious, what are some topics that you guys, and maybe it's just that Epstein was the first casualty of the
That's number one.
coronaviruses, but what are some like the recent things that you guys have been like super focused on or wanted to
Fauci
share with
creating
people?
AIDS.
Fauci
Okay.
creating
How
about that
AIDS
one?
and
Do you think he fucked the first
Canadian
monkey?
Bioweapons Factory, 1981.
Oh, you think he actually?
Yeah,
created
Fauci
it.
created AIDS in a Canadian bioweapons factory in the year 1981.
Is this what? Give me some of the evidence. Give me some of the facts. Give me
If you
some
go
of the
and
proof.
you check the Canadian bioweapons facility that the coronavirus
You can
came
see
out
pictures of
you
him
can
fucking the monkey.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's like the JFK slides. You flipping through like, oh my god, he's actually fucking that monkey.
Fauci, I was fucking the monkey. I was fucking the monkey. Yeah.
He wasn't even using lube. He was just asking for
going
something.
in. You
Monkey
check if you go to
Also, monkey assholes are gross. Like I've been in this
No
far
doubt.
baboons. Like if I was gonna fuck
Good
an animal,
observation.
monkey would be the last on that list.
yeah, no way. Yeah, no, I would not fuck a monkey.
And a monkey wouldn't
What
take it
animal
well.
you
You'd
want-
have to like
what-
tie it
let's-
down. It would
let's
get
shift
violent.
over to this because this is our bread and butter.
Yeah.
What animal
are you
would
gonna
I
fuck
fuck?
first?
That's
It's
a
got to
real
be a
tough
goat.
one.
That's a classic.
No, because
Everybody knows
goats.
that.
No. You're so wrong on that.
Why? They have pussies like humans.
No, but you don't want to fuck goats because I heard Bob Saget say this. They eat like everything, and sometimes I think they got sharp vaginas because of all the shit they're
Whoa.
eating. Yeah, you don't want to fuck a goat. I think that's why people go for sheep. I've heard that sheep have the
Oh,
closest
supple.
thing to vaginas. And they are docile because they're sheep, and then you also got a lot of shear to like hold on to, so you can get a real
you got
good.
an internet connection on your phone?
You can get a good thrust motion. I'm not looking up
Google
goat
dolphin
vaginas.
pussy.
I'm not looking up.
Google dolphin pussy.
Wait, you're saying dolphins
It'll
got
blow
a nice
your
pussy?
mind.
But you'd have to pull the dolphin out of water in
No,
order to
she'll
have sex
flip
with
over.
it.
You can
No,
go
there's
in
no
the
way
water.
you're gonna fuck a dolphin underwater.
If she wants you to, it'll happen.
Oh, if she invites you in.
yeah.
But how you gonna like suffocate? Because the dolphin's
No,
gonna get
you-
into it and
it's
keep going deeper
missionary.
into water.
It's
missionary
missionary.
where
you're above the water,
Yeah,
she's below. It's
right?
a real
On the
union.
surface of the
Yeah.
Okay, and I
plane
bet
of the-
she can
If
kind
you
of
if
she
you
can
had an
kind
internet
of.
connection, I would really recommend you look up dolphin pussy.
And I bet with the with like the flipper action, she's pushing back.
Yeah. Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like, which
She's
makes all the
fighting back.
difference when you got a girl who can get into your rhythm and push back.
Yeah.
Can
And she's going.
so
and then
she's,
you look down and you go, "Fuck, it's a fish. It's
Yeah.
not a human. I forgot."
No, but at that point you're out in the ocean.
Yeah. Nobody
This
would know.
is-
It's
yeah,
international waters.
it's
There's no
inter-
law covering
Yeah,
this.
there's no you can
Yeah,
get away with
you
it.
Get away with it. Why
and
not?
if anything, if you feel like you've tracked down a mermaid, you
Nothing
don't even
with
have to
claws.
feel worried
You know
about
what's crazy? Human women are the only things we'll fuck with claws.
this. Wait, you're calling nails claws?
No, I'm saying there's no other animal you could fuck with claws. Not one.
I'm lost on this one.
I am too.
No?
Eh.
Eat the
Name
mic.
one claw. Yeah, move that mic in. No, say no. Are you free not to?
Yeah, are you free now?
No, there's no animal. All right, so you can go sheep,
Right.
and you could say I could see people fucking a sheep.
I don't think that's where Robbie's hung up because that's not where I'm hung up. You're saying that women have claws?
Oh yeah, you never seen these ladies who get the 9-inch long?
Oh, that's like a nail,
Yeah.
though.
Have you ever been scratched by one?
I guess
it's
not.
a fucking claw.
Yeah.
And they do it on purpose.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Now, are you getting scratched by women that you're fucking, or just like?
Sometimes on the street, let me tell you a serious. let me tell you a serious story the other day.
Insane claim.
You're still in New York?
I mean, yeah. I'm living in Connecticut, but I'm in New York a couple days a week.
Just the other day, I almost got tased. I was on the L
What are
train.
you doing to people that they're
You ever
clawing
been
and
on the-
tasing you?
Ever been on the? Have you ever been on the L train?
I mean, not recently.
The L train is like freak fest.
Okay.
Freak fest. So there was this guy walking around, and I could only hear and he was just going around and fucking shocking people with a taser. With a fucking taser.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's
and
Queens.
no one beat him up or.
What are you gonna do? He's got a taser in his hands. Get the fuck out of there.
It's crazy to me with subway violence that at any given point with subway violence, there's enough dudes on the train that they could take care of the person.
You know, the bystander effect does crazy things.
It never.
To people.
Yeah, it's specifically on subways because. You know that no one's going to come to support you, so now you're just getting your ass kicked.
Oh, yeah.
It's like right out of an action movie where it's the circle of ninjas, and so you can take on one at a time.
Yes.
So, you know what I mean? It's like you're not going to coordinate with the other people on the train of this guy's got a taser, so you're just going to get your fucking ass kicked.
Right.
Do you think that some of this is also like if you were to go to a boxing match, you're not going to go break up the fight, right? Because you went there and they're agreeing to fight. Is some of this that if you get on the L train, you just know that there's going to be fighting and like that's
there's a lot. People don't wear shoes, and the idea of not wearing shoes on the subway is worse than not wearing shoes maybe anywhere else. Maybe anywhere else. Let me get back to cat pussy. Okay. So I made a statement about sharp claws and animals
and
you
fucking
wouldn't
cats.
Fuck.
Right.
I cannot think of an animal with claws that would be suitable for fucking. Badger. Sloth and badger? I don't know.
Anyone else in Childaburg know of an animal that you can fuck without claws? With claws? I'm lost on this one. It's not my topic of expertise. So other than bestiality,
right, which we can now move on from giving crack to babies. We did. This is all, by the way. Go watch Timeline Earth.
Okay.
Because this is basically the content. Routine content.
Yeah.
So we did giving crack to babies. Jeffrey Epstein's innocent.
Oh, AIDS. You were talking about that. So tell me about Fauci creating
AIDS
AIDS.
in a Canadian bioweapons factory in the year 1981.
Okay.
If you go and you
now, did he go into this thinking, I want to create AIDS, and I want to put now? So what's Fauci's angle on creating AIDS?
He's a soul collector. So he's trying to kill as many people as possible so that their souls can fly up to whatever disease demon is collecting them.
And what's his profit in this?
A nice apartment in hell.
Okay.
Yeah, nice apartment building in hell.
Now, what do you think this meeting looks like? Like, does the devil recruit Fauci? He finds him and he goes, "Listen, I got an offer for you.
Yeah, he sends him an email.
Yeah, and he goes, "Listen, I'm looking for someone to collect some souls, and you're a smart guy.
Yeah.
And I think you can maybe create some sort of a virus.
Yeah.
And I specifically want to target gay people.
Yeah. Well, at first.
Yeah.
And then remember, because they found traces of the AIDS virus in the coronavirus.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're blowing my mind here, dude. What was the trace? The same monkey?
I'm not a doctor. Yeah,
the monkey fucked the bat?
Jizzed into a different jar. Yeah, I don't know.
Coronavirus was also gay. It's like the
100%. 100%. So Fauci created AIDS as a test run. Nixon helped him do it. No, Reagan. What am I saying? I'm
but
losing my
specifically,
edge.
it's not even a profit motive. It's
greater than profit because hell is eternal, so he needs a good suite there.
Okay. And so at this point, what did he do wrong first? We realized, I'm definitely going to hell.
He went to medical school.
That's it. Just being a doctor will set
I found out that medical malpractice is the third largest cause of death in America, and it blew my fucking mind. Number 2 or 1 is like alcoholism.
Well, you got to
heart
look at it this
attacks.
way. You know, every job in the world, no one wants to work it.
No.
So a doctor's no different.
Yeah, and have you ever met someone who went to medical school? It's 95% partying.
No.
And doing ketamine. Oh, yeah.
No.
100%.
Doctors
100%.
are not.
There are people who are very mad at me right now. I don't give a flying fuck.
On this one, but,
it's 95% doing ketamine with your friends.
I think it's more they're fucking dorks and really smart people. But
no, those are the chemists like Fauci. But the regular medical doctors were all fucking doing blow and ketamine, and I believe this wholeheartedly.
I gotta say,
suggesting your fans should drug you and then also calling doctors dorks is a really ballsy Sunday for you, Bernstein.
Yeah, now I'm not.
Nobody's gonna be there to catch you.
You know what? I'm retracting my statement about fans drugging me, and I want to be able to continue to casually take joints from fans, and I won't be able to do that if anyone.
I think I just got you to the point where now you can't. Now you're a celebrity enough where you can't.
Yeah, you might have just ruined my good time of casually.
Sure
all right, so let's hit some of the big news stories this week. Unless there were any other recent...
No, I'm good on bestiality. I'm good on drugging kids. I'm good on AIDS and Fauci.
Because I want to give everyone a platform to get across their big things
This
that they
is
want the world to
libertarianism,
know about.
100%.
And so you feel like
That's
you
all I
covered...
need. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, what am I? I'm not a storyteller or
Yeah,
anything. I'm just here to
you can
talk.
drop the mic. You covered
Yeah.
your topics.
That's it. I offer no expertise in any field.
Okay. And what about you? Were there anything that you felt people need to be aware of, or you feel like that covers it?
I would hope so, yeah.
All right, so let's hit some of the biggest news stories from this past week. We've already talked coronavirus. So the first one is there's something really weird about the way that the news is able to switch on stories from denying something, and the bad story. So early on, you had people like myself, Sam Parker, pointing out on social media, hey, it looks like this thing's been made in a lab, and you'd be removed from social media, and that was, by the way, back then, that was like even worse than now when you're like just questioning, hey, is it a good idea to be getting these vaccines?
Right.
And I'm saying you were treated the exact same way. You were a fucking lunatic talking about Bigfoot, and you were anti-government, and you were an asshole if you were saying, hey, I think this was made in a lab.
Which we do all those things already anyway.
What?
That's our repertoire, that whole set.
Okay.
Bigfoots and all that.
So it switches, right, where now everyone's like, this thing looks pretty clearly to have been made in a lab.
Yeah.
But now they've got pictures of the bats biting the people from the... It's like... Did that suddenly appear now? Where did the New York Post have these pictures? Like, suddenly you have these pictures and you're ready to print? It's like, it seems to me like they're very clearly just sitting on the information and then yelling at us, and then some sort of a wheel turns where they're like, oh, we're allowed to run this story, and then they're good to go. It's like a secondary folder. Hey, if the market is willing to accept this narrative, let's put it out. But it just seems so flagrant to me that they clearly have that other information that they're just not publishing it.
What was the impetus for them to switch over to the lab leak?
I think...
Was it the CIA?
In my opinion, Josh Rogan.
Oh, okay.
Josh Rogan's
Just
research.
the popularity of...
Yeah, I think Josh Rogan, who was working for the New York Times, I think when that guy finally was like, actually, there's pretty good evidence that this came from the New York Times, had to be like, well, we backed this guy all the time in the past.
Right. Oh, okay. So
I don't think it's as simple as a one-to-one, like,
Sure.
he says it, so we got to go with it. But I mean,
it was a critical
I could find you a
mass of
Live
evidence.
Science article from 2020 that was saying the exact same thing. It leaked from that specific lab.
I think it might also be that the Republicans... You got to understand, we're watching theater, and I mean, I've made this joke before, but politics is just who farted. That's it.
100%.
And they're not trying to solve anything. It's just Democrats, Republicans trying to blame the other side.
Yeah.
So they're starting to realize that there's a lot of Americans that don't like the way government stripped us of freedom this year, and to whatever extent they can expose the Democrats and Fauci for lying, right, they're going to get some bonus points. Like, that's now the theater.
Yeah.
So you got guys like Rand Paul and Jim Jordan who are
Rand
actually...
is killing it.
Yeah, Rand is killing it right
I
now.
have the most like ex-girlfriend relationship with Rand Paul of all time. He does amazing things, then he does something that just pisses me off. I won't talk to him for 2 weeks.
Right.
Then I'll come back every time.
Yeah, well, you can get suckered by the Republicans right now. You and I were talking about last night where you look at DeSantis and you're like, this guy's fucking for freedom and this is cool. But you know if he had any power, he would instantly do things that would bother you.
But we agree the moves in the legislature are just solid, good moves. Because you can't
like
take that stuff out.
No,
it's very difficult.
Seems that way.
Yeah.
But I'm not the best. Like,
what are some of the specifics?
Well, the one is I mean, he codified into legislation. There's no more mask mandates. Number one, and he codified into legislation. There is no right for a business to ask you whether or not you're vaccinated.
Right, and then this was, and he's going after the cruises because he basically passed laws so that the cruises could reopen.
Yeah.
And then the cruises said that they will only reopen if they can be 95% vaccinated. And he said, I'm going to fine you guys for that because that's against the spirit of what I just put together for you. And it's fun to see like a Republican who is fighting, for our freedom against this vaccine nonsense. But the second he gets some power, it will turn. It's also interesting to see because I would say at the moment he's got to be front runner against Trump to try and take the Republican nomination.
That he could make for Florida and for himself would be to run for president.
You think so?
He has to stick with Florida. Yeah. Yeah.
You don't think because he won't be popular outside of Florida?
I think he could become the president of the United States, but I think that does absolutely nothing for him or anybody else.
Right.
What is that? I mean,
right. He's just going to get lost.
The
in the
president
quagmire
doesn't make a lot of money.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's doing it for that. The speeches that he's going to be giving, are they going to be that greatly affected by him becoming president? He's already a superstar.
Yeah.
So what extra money is he going to be pulling in for being president? If it's about money, if it's about actually getting things done. have we not learned over the past 25 years that you cannot get a fucking thing done?
You're saying if he actually cares about freedom, he can
should
concentrate
stick in Florida,
on
and
his
he should
state.
force people to be coming to Florida with all these amazing moves he's making. I mean, it's really hard coming from New York,
right,
to look at Florida and be like, I'm not going to move there. No, I'm going to move there.
I think the nature of the game is that if you want to become president if you can.
Yeah, I mean,
if that's the game he's playing.
I just wonder.
I think they're all.
Because the governor and the president, I mean, theoretically are on an equal par, and that's how they should be. His state versus the federal government.
Right.
But that's why we have a Supreme Court, because the two of them have to duke it out. It's not like it's assumed one is greater than the other. One of them is the commander-in-chief.
Right, but you're talking within the theoretical framework of how you would like government to be.
If you're going for this is the peak of the peak,
right,
it could easily be the governorship for you. It doesn't have to be the presidency.
Right. So that would be a good pitch to DeSantis to go, listen, I think you can...
I'd be begging doing it.
Yeah, you can be like, I think you can reframe what being a governor is and make that a bigger job by saying, I'd rather do this than that.
He's the one doing
But I
that.
think the reality is that these guys, it's the big game. It's like getting into the Super Bowl.
If that's the game he's playing, then I'm just glad he's putting legislation out that's going to be hard to get rid of.
I think one thing that you got to consider, too, is this, and a lot of this sounds like probably down the pipe and kind of wishful thinking, but, the idea of secession, or at least increased federalism, has come back into vogue, especially since COVID. And it could be that DeSantis sees himself as the president of Florida, not the governor of Florida, and Florida is a separate.
That is what
it's
starting.
Baby.
Yeah, dude, it's starting to get a little bit, because all of these legislative efforts that have been happening across the southern states, whether it be guns or COVID or whatever, they're kind of flaunting the idea that the federal government is greater than them in some sense, or they're testing the waters. And I'm no fan of government on any level, and they'll turn around and do bad things too. But that's an interesting thing, and maybe DeSantis sees himself like, do you want to be a popular president of essentially the country of Florida, or do you want to inherit all the problems of the United States and never get anything done?
It's such a bad
and probably be crucified by the media.
Proposition.
You're never going to be popular.
All right, so next big news story of this past week is there's a lot of scary news coming out of India with all of the variants.
Yeah.
And I kind of haven't been reading the news stories, and the reason being that I feel that at the beginning of this thing, they lied to us so much with the thing that was going on in Italy and everywhere else, and even here the risk that I've just kind of checked out.
Yeah.
But as I start reading the stories a little bit more, I do start wondering, am I being full of shit here where I'm not even, I guess, looking at the other side to see if there's some risk to these variants that I haven't really explored? And I try and flag myself of hey, am I in my own feedback loop here where I'm not even open to other things? So I was curious if you guys have read up on any of what's going on in India with the variants and if there's any concern there.
I don't know about India specifically, but there was a great exchange between Rand Paul and Fauci not long ago where Fauci basically got him to, they were getting to the point where he was talking about masks and vaccinations.
We're on a boat now. If you're listening to the show,
we just got on the boat.
We've set sail, and we're bringing Childaburg to a new location.
Yeah, it's gorgeous out here.
We're searching for women. We got onto a boat. We heard that women like
dolphins.
boats. Yeah, dolphins. We're now horny for dolphins, and after that conversation, we secretly shifted to the boat. Guy, don't go too far. I'm about to bring you on in a minute.
Yeah.
You going to go take a piss? You can go take... Oh, yeah, that's probably not a bad move. Amazing that we all pretend to be the smartest party, and we've all sat here for 45 minutes, and no one's
just allowing this.
Yeah, no one's like, hey, can we just take down the wind machine?
Yeah. I know that, so that interaction happens between Fauci and Rand. Yeah, that's their names. And, it was basically the point.
The sun! Why do we do that?
Getting burned. Oh, yeah, now we got to put sunscreen on our pasty asses. Basically, we got to the point where Rand was like, just show me any piece of evidence that you possibly can that the variants have a significant risk factor of transference and then lethality. And Fauci could not do that. So, you could...
So is it just poor standard of living in India that it's...
I don't know why the variants are spreading that way, but it's a cough.
Right.
And I was never worried about it really to begin with.
Right.
And I'm not worried about it now.
And then
especially
I would
since
also
we're already
think,
at herd immunity for the regular one, and they have no ability, they have no evidence to suggest that the vaccine doesn't prevent variants effectively. We're at herd immunity for that, as far as I'm concerned.
Right. And I guess the other, have they shut down travel between here and India? Because if not, they're kind of just asking for it.
Yeah.
Standard that I know of to come into the state countries is that you have to have a vaccination.
Well, I don't think you have to have it. Well, you need to have a vaccination, or I think you have to quarantine
test.
for
and you have to
14 days or something
I don't think we have any specific, like, no, you can't go to that country or come back from there anymore now.
All right, last general news topic, and then we're going to bring on Mr. Swan to discuss some recent Bitcoin things and some financial news. But what's your impression of Gates? It seems like the story's starting to turn on him a little bit now that he's getting this divorce from his wifey, and like some bad media is coming out. What do you got? You think he's a sweater-wearing, nice guy trying to solve world problems? Do you think it's somewhere in between, or are you guys totally in the conspiracy camp of this guy's working with Fauci, he's trying to herd the population?
That's the one, right? We're in on that?
Yeah, I think we're in on that.
Yeah, we decided a long time ago that was what our podcast stance was going to be on Bill Gates.
I love it. And before I bring Mr. Swan up here, let's get a quick sponsor plug in. Dryv, D-R-Y-V-E. You want to be as smart as Guy Swan. You're going to hear some brilliance. You're going to hear a guy who actually reads books. He's able to keep his intellect together. He's able to be on the spot. You ask this man anything financial, you're going to be very impressed. And I want to give you this guy's secret before. And he didn't sign off on this. In no way did he sign off on this. But I'm telling you, I saw him taking DRYVE. I saw him stuffing that into his gums. He heard it on the Run Your Mouth podcast. He said, that sounds like a good sponsor. I got to read everything about Bitcoin all the time so I can be as informed as possible. DRYVE. If you're wasting your money on sugary energy drinks that, are all full of sugar and other terrible things, you buy these packs. I think they're $3. You can get the first one for free by using my promo code, which I think is Run1, but just look in the episode description. There'll be a link there. It's got B vitamins, L-theanine, other nootropics. You put in your gums, like right in a little bag as if you were dipping, but it's not dip, and it tastes minty. It's actually nice. I'm a big fan. I've spoke about it before. It's cheaper and easier than coffee and energy drinks. You get the little pouches, you keep it in your pocket, you can pretend like you're dipping and sound really cool, like you're a baseball player or some shit like that. But go check out the website. If you're drinking a lot of coffee or energy drinks, I promise you'll like this product. And now let's get into the second half of the live episode. All right, Mr. Swan, if you would come join us, I got a microphone for you. You guys hang out. I just adjusted the wrong mic because I'm a putz. There we go. Let me just test your levels there. Give it a
check 1 2.
All right, perfect. So one of the big financial topics this past week, and no, hang on, Mike. You guys don't have to bounce. One of the big financial topics, and when it comes to this stuff, it's never covered. I don't know if it's your topic of expertise. It's basically just exists in the headlines and with no explanation. Okay. But the biggest thing that was going on this past week was there was the reverse repos, where all the banks are looking to basically get liquidity off their balance sheets and hand it back to the Fed. I don't have a full understanding of what is going on here. And you know what? I guess before I'll hand it off to you first, and then I have one takeaway, but I'm curious if you have any insight on what exactly is going on there.
Okay, so the kind of the reverse repo market and everything, like just the overnight repo market in general is largely a facade of trying to appear as if you are worried about the amount of reserves that the banks have.
Right.
And in a lot of the laws and shifts in requirements and regulations since the whole, because this started to unravel at the end of 2019, so it was really pre-COVID. In fact, they had to do like $600 billion or something in the month of September, and it kind of just went under the radar. Like, interest rates spiked overnight from it was like 1.5% to 10% in like a matter of hours, and the Fed came in because this was them just trying to unravel all the shit they've built up for the last 10 years, since 2008, and basically it was kind of the final nail in the coffin that, like, okay, yeah, this was all a facade. We're just printing money and we're just buying up assets and treasuries because nobody else will monetize our debt, and this is just them continually trying to make it look like, okay, we need some sort of reserves and we need to be playing the game properly. Right. And the Fed is really just they're just printing the money and putting it on their balance sheet whenever the whenever the balances don't line up.
So we've said
They're cooking the books.
We've said two things there which are interesting, so I just want to explain if I heard it correctly.
Okay.
The first is the Fed, we need to finance our government, and we need to pretend that there's demand for basically our debt. And so the Fed's buying more of its own debt to create this illusion that, there's basically buyers of it.
Yep.
And so part of that is a transaction with the banks to pretend like there's more demand for government debt that there is. Is that part of the element?
Basically,
okay. And then the other thing that's happening is with the reserve ratios, you're saying it's like, my general feeling when it comes to the banks is that we're kind of in a hostage situation where if anything happens to the banks, it showcases to the world that the financial system isn't actually solvent. And then all of a sudden you got to write down assets, which includes our own currency, right? And then we're all fucked. Yeah. So the banks kind of win because pensions will be the first losers, which are people retirement, and then just general us. So it's like we're in this hostage situation where the banks get to constantly say, hey, if you don't fix this signal, which is essentially our balance sheet and pretending like we're solvent, look at what's going to happen to everybody else. And so then they get their bailout. Yeah. So that seemed to me what was going on the last time with the repo market is basically they said, banks don't have enough of the reserve requirements, so we're going to flood the market with all this money. And now they basically go, oh shit, we actually flooded them with too much, so we got to get some of this off the books. So they're now just taking it back. So it's kind of like, but what's interesting, I guess, is like you were saying, it would just kind of showcase the insolvency of the system without them stepping into, like you said, cook the books.
Yeah. That's pretty decent simplification of it. Yeah.
Okay. Any other insights on what's going on with the reverse repo you think people should be aware of, or that we basically covered the gist of it?
I think we're moving closer and closer. I mean, it's been kind of a process of 20, 25 years now, but we're going full on MMT and universal basic income, without a doubt. It's just kind of a natural process because they keep backing themselves into a corner. Like, there's no way to unravel it when essentially the quote-unquote problem is real prices. And so they have to dampen out the prices to make sure, like
you mean as inflation comes,
as interest rate prices. Like, this is how they manipulate the market and supposedly get what they want out of the macroeconomic environment, is they encourage everybody to borrow money that nobody actually has by manipulating the interest rates down. So it's like the analogy I use is that it's like a price is a gauge. Like, it tells us something real about the economy. So it's like an altimeter in a plane. So if it says that you're flying towards the ground, what you want to do is pull up. You want to change your behavior. And what they're doing is like, oh no, it's like really bad to be flying towards the ground, so we're just going to break the altimeter and we're just going to push that. We're just going to push it back up so it looks like we're flying straight. And everybody's really nice. It's like, it's really comfortable for that to be the case. Because if we had to pull up on the plane really hard, everybody would just, like, shit would fall out of the top of the things. Luggage would go everywhere. Everybody would be like, oh, this is super uncomfortable. And so instead, we're just flying increasingly steeper down towards the ground, and they just keep breaking the altimeter. And thank God they're here to save us. But they're just cooking the books. They're covering up the fact that we're burning through capital. We're destroying production. We have companies that are hundreds of billions of dollars in capitalization that haven't turned a profit in 15 years. Like, it just doesn't.
I want that corporation, by the way.
It's all just
like,
a
how do you go
facade.
from zero to just so much debt that they just hand you money?
I don't
There's
know.
a way to do
Like,
it.
There's somebody's got a playbook, and they only share it with their buddies.
That would almost make for a funny, like a funny book of the financial system, is how to be so in debt the government just gives you free money.
How to be so in debt that you're the richest man in the world.
Yeah, and then it's just the story of making sure that enough. That really is the game. It's what I said, that if enough other people will be screwed by you going down, they'll continue to keep you rich, so that the illusion is that, everything's solvent. Yeah. So there's been a lot of recent stuff going on with Bitcoin, and let's just start with the biggest topic, which is how much should we be buying this dip?
Just as if you have poverty paper anywhere, it needs to be turned into Bitcoin.
And now's the moment because of this dip?
Yes. What's I think a large part of the selling pressure in this, first is we were crazy overheated for quite some time. Like, we basically went straight from 10,000 to 60,000 without breaking a sweat.
Right.
And so we were really overheated, And I think the huge increase in liquidity in the last like year or two has really kind of drawn out these dips. Like you see, it's like much more gradual before it finally turned around than in like previous hype cycles. With another huge part of the selling pressure was that China is now cracking down on mining, and there's a massive amount of mining power in China.
But wouldn't that mean less? If it's less mining, wouldn't it make my Bitcoin more valuable?
That's what's happening. Is that like, this is actually like a really, really good thing, I think, for the mining industry as a whole, because it's basically forcing the hash power to be more mobile, to basically jump jurisdictions when it becomes unfriendly. And in a matter of a couple of weeks, a lot of miners had to sell off saved capital. They had to sell off a lot of their Bitcoin
so that they could move,
pick up shop. And
so that's why there was more supply in
like
the
a bunch,
BTC
plopping down in Kazakhstan,
right?
And a lot of the areas around China, because they're trying to get out of specifically like Inner Mongolia has cracked down in particular. And they're used to moving from the wet to the dry season. There's like coal in Xinjiang.
I thought I heard at one point that they were
and then there's hydro
going to like
Sichuan.
Greenland or other super cold areas.
There's been a lot of movement. There's been a lot of movement, and they've also had to sell a lot of saved Bitcoin in order to make those moves. So there's been a big dump, which is like fresh coins on the market, baby, and they're
move
they're
is
selling at a
probably
discount. I've been putting every stupid fucking dollar.
North Korea coal. If you can somehow open up business in North Korea and make use of all those coal reserves to burn some fucking hash and mine yourself some Bitcoin,
take it all.
That's where the cash machine is. Okay. So you mentioned that China just banned it. I think there was another. Was it India or who else just took a move against crypto?
India has made a number of different moves in the past. They like banned it and unbanned it. Of course, China's done this every year since 2014, basically. But I think this is a more concerted effort from kind of the boots on the ground comments that leak through, which is good. I really think one of the biggest, particularly like just like kind of the stupid FUD for any outsiders, is that like, oh my God, China has all the hash power and they're going to control the network. It's like, well, that's not how it works. You can't just like change the rules. But whatever. Now they've just picked up and gone. They've dispersed across, Europe and the rest of the Middle East and stuff. So now your FUD is gone.
Do you think there's going to be more countries cracking down? And do you think that that's going to have a positive or negative effect on Bitcoin's value?
I think short-term sentiment always wins. Short-term, it's negative. Long-term fundamentals always win. So it's positive.
All right.
It'll just be a kind of a game of hot potato, which jurisdiction is friendly, which isn't. I mean, you see the same thing in Florida and Texas. They've just passed laws that are stupid friendly for miners, and specifically like, come to us.
Right.
Texas just
Kentucky too, right?
Kentucky too. That's right. Wyoming is pushing pretty hard for it.
Are you guys mining at all? Is it just found money that I'm not in on? Or
mining is difficult.
Yeah.
It is a business. Granted, right now, if you can get a hold of some hardware, the price right now, like there's a huge uptick in mining just in general, because when the price goes 6x or 7x in a short period of time, the margin cost of producing a Bitcoin is still only like $15,000.
Right.
So if you can get a hold of some hash power, you got 100% profit on every Bitcoin you managed to actually create. So right now there's still an opportunity, but because of that, mining power is actually really hard to get a hold of.
Right.
That said, because everybody's moving in China and there's huge
there's more of an
flux in the
opportunity
market,
for it.
there's actually kind of a sweet spot right now that you might actually be able to get some and not have to wait on a chip manufacturer or whatever.
All right. 3 more Bitcoin questions.
All right.
Getting restless sitting on this cooler, but I got the expert here, so I want to cover everything Bitcoin. Why does Elon Musk have so much influence over the power of Bitcoin, and I mean the price of Bitcoin, and how do we change that? It seems like Elon Musk really can kind of just front run his own investments, and that he's like a newsmaker where prices are changing based off of the news he's making. And I would think that if you were pro-Bitcoin, the market would be bigger than just fucking Elon Musk, who... Fuck Elon Musk. I'll just say that. And you know why?
Fuck that guy.
Because
Fuck that
you
guy.
talk about fucking engineering, and I'm an innovator, I'm this billionaire. He's making his money off of government credits.
Subsidies.
He's playing the
Steve
fucking
Jobs
government
of whatever
game.
he does.
Yeah,
He's
he's
Steve
playing...
Jobs
He's
of whatever he
just
does.
he's as much of a crony capitalist as anyone that's ever existed. He's got
For
some
real.
overly evaluated company that does not turn a profit, that he front runs like whatever whatever he does for stock prices, and all of his profits are in fucking credits, from what I understand. So I don't like
He's
him.
made more profit this year off of just the Bitcoin holdings that they had than their entire year of selling cars.
Yeah. Unbelievable. But I think he's somewhat in the system that because his profits are actually coming from government handouts and subsidies, like he's in the system. And as they're kind of pushing this new ESG, which BlackRock is getting aggressive on. There was titles, they changed something at ExxonMobil. They changed something at like BP. If you guys aren't familiar with this, BlackRock are currently it's like not only are they like the largest investors in the world, they're also in with the Fed. That when they process the SPV loans, all the money filtered through BlackRock, and BlackRock has tremendous influence over the market. You got this new thing called ESG investing, where they're trying to push more money into like green initiatives, and so BlackRock is not just at like the head of that. And I don't really quite understand what their profit motive is, or if maybe they're holding green energy shit, or they're trying to like fuck up the prices of energy. I don't know what their game is, but it seems to me like they're somewhat manipulating the market in a big way. And so coming back to Elon Musk, I think part of what the system's going to continue to try and do is shame Bitcoin, that we're using electricity, it's not green friendly, and as the planet's dying, we need to get away from this thing that's just consuming energy. And so Elon Musk gets his fucking marching orders, where since he's in the system, he doesn't get to like just you know what I mean? He makes his money from government and the thing. So if he gets his marching orders, he's got to kind of follow suit. And now I'm rambling here, so I'll hand it back to you. How do we get away from Elon Musk having as much power as he has? And I know this is kind of unrelated, but how bad is this ESG and kind of government narrative? Because even the Fed now has got in its charter something about like you're not allowed to make investments that are going to
carbon shit. Yeah.
So it's not. I'm saying this is like a serious drive from the most sophisticated players in government, that they're going to put the Fed money and Wall Street behind this kind of new social movement that involves global warming and the other parts of the liberal agenda, that you're promoting minorities and all that other stuff.
Yeah. So I think the big issue just on the narrative front is that everybody who complains about Bitcoin's energy consumption just thinks that Bitcoin is a useless toy, so it just uses energy in any form or fashion, therefore stupid and terrible, and we should kill it. I think they're just so ignorant of
so you're saying it's just
money
education
related.
It's just education.
It's just education. And more importantly, like if Bitcoin was going to fail because of FUD, it would have failed a long time ago. And I think it's just kind of the natural process of this thing filtering through everything. I mean, like in the context of ESG, Bitcoin, like some of the quote-unquote best FUD for it was the fact that there was a huge, I think it was Inner Mongolia, was where it was massively powered by coal, like a lot of the hash power. But that's basically moving away right now. And the industry, the Bitcoin mining industry, has always been more renewable than basically, like from a percentage standpoint, than basically any other industry. It's like picking on the fastest man in the world for not running quite fast enough. It's like you're looking at the guy who's already winning the race on your stupid narrative, and you're bitching about him. And Bitcoin doesn't have anything to fucking apologize for.
There you go.
Bitcoin is Bitcoin is solving so many other problems, and the fact that the only thing that it costs is burning some energy is a godsend. Yeah. Like it's solving the problem of 1 billion accountants in the banking industry, like the corruption and subsidies, like the fact that you cannot manipulate prices. There's no fake prices in Bitcoin. Like we don't get a bailout when it goes down 50%. And in the context of like Elon and like sentiment, is as volatility increases. Back to the kind of rule number 1 and rule number 2. In the short term, sentiment matters. In the long term, fundamentals matter. We were already like really primed for a drawdown, and basically Elon Musk was just kind of the catalyst. But it could have been anything. Like if Elon hadn't said anything, it would have been China cracking down on mining. If China hadn't done anything, it would have been Nigeria rebanning Bitcoin. It would have just been anything, and the pressure would have released, and the price would have collapsed. But in the long term, like holders and stackers, the people who, like when the more volatility there is, the more sentiment actually has an impact on the price. So when you find that stable floor, or you get like holders just like really dumping money into it when it starts to find a base. Holders don't give a shit. Look 6 months out. Anybody who's got a time frame that's more than 2 weeks out is totally fine.
All right, one last question for you. The expert. All right, so I even hear Mark Cuban talking about, hey, Ethereum is the better of the two because it's actually we're actually building off of it's got more of the transactional capabilities. Now, last time I had you on the show, you said, like, you brought me into the Bitcoin world, and it's that Bitcoin is money, everything else is fucking garbage, right? Yeah. And you served me well with that piece of advice because I bought myself some Bitcoin. So I appreciate it. The book that I read was even just reading the interesting ideas, and I'm a believer in what Bitcoin can do. When am I going to finally see Guy Swan's analysis being accurate that all of these secondary function of Bitcoin are being built off of Bitcoin? Because at the moment, at least in the public perception, it's being built more off of like the other cryptos. So what is the time frame to where your opinion wins out, and I'm seeing more of like the secondary features of the crypto market taking place, being backed by Bitcoin and not the other cryptocurrencies?
Okay. So timeline is hard to, like, I think altcoins and shitcoins will kind of be around probably in at least some form or fashion for solid 5 to 10 years, and then there will always be a gambling circuit of this shit. I mean, just think about it in the context of like TCP/IP, like the original protocol of the internet. Is that like there wasn't really a whole lot of variation on it. There were other modifications that somebody tried to release. Like version 5 tried to have streaming built into like the base layer, and it basically just never got off the ground. But like in the context of TCP/IP, it's open source code. So if you could copy it and paste it and then just be like, oh, I've got like 1 billion more IP addresses than the normal TCP/IP, and you could sell them each for $1, how many copies of TCP/IP would we have had? Like, there'd be probably about 10,000 of them, which is how many shitcoins we have. And in like regards to like when does the prediction of Bitcoin being dominant play out? I mean, I think it still is. I mean, if you look at each of the hype cycles and the previous altcoins, everybody talks about like the Bitcoin dominance. It's like every time you add some stupid shitcoin and you sell one for $1 and it's got 1 billion tokens, well, then it's got $1 billion market cap that's killing the Bitcoin dominance, and that is totally meaningless. Nobody gives a shit about Shiba Coin. Nobody really does, except for the people who think they're about to make $1 million off a bunch of idiots who are going to buy something because it's got a dog token on it. And
so we need more cute puppies.
We need more cute puppies. We way more puppy tokens.
We're not doing enough.
The more we can have,
way
the
of getting
better.
there. But yeah,
all right,
but it's a tortoise versus a hare thing. I think 99% of the mindset in the shitcoins and altcoins is that this is a tech startup and that we need to get as many users as possible right out the gate, and we need to do everything. It's the AOL. I'm going to provide somebody with a curated internet. We're going to have chat rooms. We're going to give you your horoscope and your weather report. You're going to log into us, and then we are going to be your whole internet, and you're not even going to be able to get outside of our hub. That lasted for a long... 7 years or something in the 90s, that model worked. Prodigy, CompuServe, AOL, like that was a big thing. And then slowly, the open,
Google kicked
like
their ass.
more secure, like base protocol just became the one that people built on top of. It didn't bloat. It was actually fundamentally sound, and everything spread back out to the internet. And I think that's what Bitcoin is. It's not a tech toy where you want to get as many gadgets on it. It's a security system. It is tech to make a sound money. The money is the purpose of it. And we got like DLCs and Taproot and shit going on Lightning, and like you can make all the DeFi and the tokens and shit on Bitcoin. It's just you can't sell it to anybody because Bitcoiners don't want it. It's dog shit and they know it. So they go off and they do their own altcoins and stuff. And I don't even if somehow like we end up in a world with like 1 million shitcoins and tokens and stuff, I don't really fucking care. If it removes money from control of the state, cool. Take your fucking Ethereum.
Right, you're still defunding the state. Like the most critical part of why we would love Bitcoin as libertarians.
Yeah.
Even if the worser money is where people want to place their money, they're still basically voting against government and defunding it because you can't be robbed through inflation.
Like, I don't care, but I still think Bitcoin is the most trusted. Bitcoin is going to stay the king, and it's going to the next couple of years are going to be insane.
All right, we fucking did it. Live Childaburg. Yeah. This was a blast.
Oh, yeah.
Let me shout out some of the people we got out here. I know Biting the Bullet was out here.
Oh, yeah.
We got Tower Gang hanging out here. Obviously, Timeline Earth. I forget, what's the name of your podcast again?
Bitcoin Audible.
People can find Bitcoin Audible. We got Steamboat Comedy. Anyone else out here got a podcast? I'll plug it. Slurp Gang hanging out. Balls to the wall. What else we got? Anyone else?
Liberty Weekly.
Rebel with a cause.
Rebel with the cause. Liberty Weekly. God damn it, there's no actual audience here.
This is a content creator fest.
Guys, this was a blast. Thank you for hanging out with us, and that's our show. Later.
Let's go.
Okay, Droid Thing, can you send the details on the planet we're going to? You don't talk. They sent me alone in space with the thing that beeps? Just use the interface and text me the info. I don't talk, bleep, blah, blah! Why would you even have an advanced ship with the thing that can't speak if you could already navigate the whole fucking ship to speak to me? Yeah, I get it. You beep. Okay, Droid Thing, I want the info on the ship and the info on the planet we're going to. Quit beeping! That's it. Where's the eject button? There's gotta be an eject button. Okay, goodbye, Droid! I hope you enjoyed flying through space! Ooh, fuck these things. It's like being in space with an alarm clock. Well, I hacked what I needed out of that, and there's no way I'm gonna be stuck in space with the thing that beeps. From now on, I'm adjusting all Federation equipment before I go anywhere. Alright, let's try and calm the ship. This is mechanic. I'm in, Captain. This is mechanic. They put the antenna on the droid. There's a giant ship. And they put the comms on the droid. Okay, just breathe. Just breathe. I need to unbuckle. These buckles are restrictive. There's no release. There's no release. They put the buckle release on the droid? Are you telling me I'm floating through space, stuck in a ship, and I can't release my buckle?